Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Murphy, and I am super excited to be on this webinar with you here today. On this webinar, you are going to learn the 3 communication mistakes that hospitality sales professionals like you make selling to site selection professionals like myself. Are you a hotel sales professional that has leads coming in from third parties like Helms Briscoe, Conference Direct, Avery Murphy? Or perhaps you are new to hospitality sales. Now, that might not necessarily be the case, given that we are having this conversation not after the pandemic, but during the pandemic, as shelters in place are going through certain criteria. So some of you may just be coming back to your desks, or some of you may not be at your desks just yet. So, but if you have currently or previously worked with site selection professionals and third parties, then this is the right webinar for you. Just to give you a heads up, I get kind of excited. So sometimes I'll talk a little bit fast and I'll go through slides really quickly. It might feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. We're going to cover a ton of stuff very, very quickly. And then at the end, I am going to stick around for some live Q&As. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box as we go, and I will try to cover as many of them as possible. Just to let you know, there's a little bit of a delay from when you type into the chat to when I can actually see it. So just know that sometimes I'm going to pause when I ask certain questions so that you get time to answer and I can see your answers. Actually, why don't you go ahead and join me in the chat right now so that I know that you can see me and hear me okay. Just let me know that you can see me and hear me. That would be wonderful. Give me a little thumbs up. I've got my little checking to see who's with us over here to the right of me. And we have Edward and Tracy and Krista and Michelle. Super excited to have you here with us today. So while I'm waiting for everybody to chat with me, oh, yay, Michelle's here, Tracy's here. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me and see me. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, do any of these sound familiar? Now, think back. We might have to clean out a few cobwebs, exercise our memories. Think back to February and March. And have you ever thought to yourself, there's a disconnect with communication? Everything is done via Cvent. Or you're not sure that all of the information is being presented to their client. Perhaps you've considered or had this thought, how do we differentiate ourselves against the competition? Are we getting everything so that we can be competitive with everyone else? My hotel destination is unique as the site selection professional presenting us in the best light. I sent them the proposal and then I never hear from them again. Now, here are some thoughts that might sound familiar to you after March, when the pandemic and COVID-19 was recognized by WHO and the CDC, and shelters in place started to happen. Today, I just got the call. I've been laid off, furloughed, or my position is eliminated. Oh my gosh, IMEX is canceled. Our hotel has suspended operations. Prepare for the new normal. How do I pivot? What do I pivot to? So as you can see, we're shifting here, folks. And the biggest thing that I can share with you is if you do things the way that you've done them before, you're going to miss out on some wonderful opportunities. Before we jump in, though, I want to share with you some learning states. I have studied neurolinguistic programming, known as NLP. If you've never heard of neurolinguistic programming or NLP, perhaps you have heard of Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a master practitioner at NLP, and what he does when he works with his clients is he uses NLP quite a bit. As I studied NLP, I learned about these 3 learning states, and as soon as I learned about them, I got pretty excited because previous to learning about them as an adult, I, to be candid with you, was embarrassed to share when I was confused, or I was embarrassed to when I got super frustrated, or I didn't want to show folks that I was in overwhelm. And the neat thing about these 3 states is confusion means you are about to learn something new. So as you get confused as we go through this material today, that's a great thing. That means you're learning. And I am sure each and every one of you on this call has experienced frustration these past 3 months when we've been sheltering in place. Do I put my mask on? I just recently learned that there's a proper way, actually not recently, but everything feels recent these days. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I learned that there's a proper and an improper way to take off your mask. I'm like, golly, gee whiz, just as soon as I got some masks, now I'm learning that there's a different way that you have to take them off. So frustration is something that we have been feeling, and I want you to get excited about it, because when you're frustrated, that means you're on the verge of a breakthrough. All of you are here today because of Michelle Carlin, my friend and professional colleague, and she talks about being in alignment. So when you're frustrated and you go through this breakthrough, you're going to be more in alignment with who you truly are. And the last one is overwhelm. And again, I would not be surprised if we all on this call have not experienced some overwhelm these past 3 months and may still continue to feel some overwhelm, because while we're used to understanding the pandemic and the curve has been flattened, we still are uncertain about what that means to us in the hospitality industry. So really get excited about these 3 learning states: confusion, frustration, and overwhelm. In this workshop, I am going to teach you the 3 communication mistakes, again, that hospitality sales professionals like yourselves make in selling to third parties and site selection professionals like myself. We're going to touch base on a little bit about third parties and COVID-19. And then we're going to talk about which third parties you want to know. We're not a one size fits all, everyone. So stick around to the end, because I am going to give you access to a podcast where you will learn the 4 common sales blocks. I like to share that I feel like I was blessed. One of the gifts that I received when I was born is I kind of have the personality of a sales professional. Being a sales professional has come very easily to me. That said, I learned along my professional career that there was still things that I could learn that would make me an even better sales professional. There's processes and steps that we take. One of the things that you'll see today is I'm going to go to my script on a fairly regular basis, because I don't want anything to be missed. And prior to working with the sales coach who told me about the 4 common sales blocks, I kind of was a little bit of a lone wolf, and I didn't think that I thought scripts were for amateurs. Come to find out, they're not. They're for professionals. So I was shocked when I listened to this podcast to learn that I had 2 of these common sales blocks. So I highly encourage you to stick around to the end and get the link to this podcast for the 4 common sales blocks. And right now, can you all do me a favor and actually do it for yourself? Turn off anything that beeps, buzzes, blinks, power down your email, shut down Facebook, get off of your iPhone, even put your iPhone, turn it off, or put it in vibrate mode. And when you are all ready, let me know that you are fully present. Join me in the chat and say fully present. And I'm going to give you guys a second to get there, and I'm going to fast forward through my script because I got a lot of this memorized. So join me in the chat and let me know that you are fully present. Krista, thank you. We got someone else joining us. Woo-hoo, woo. Okay, a little bit about me. I have been in the hospitality industry. When I started to look at what I was going to share with you about my background, Edward, good to hear from you too. I was kind of surprised because I do not feel this old, but I have been in the hospitality industry for almost 3 decades. And the first 13 years, I worked with various hotels, Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, Starwood Hotels and Resorts, when Starwood was Starwood before it got acquired by Marriott. And then I was with Intercontinental Hotels at the end. I worked at limited service properties, I worked at extended stay properties, and I've worked at full service properties. I've been in several different destinations. I've been in Phoenix, Detroit, San Diego, task force at a couple of other destinations, LAX and Salt Lake City and Boston, actually. So that's a little bit about me on my hotel selling side. And I just share that with you so that you know that I've walked in your shoes and I know how you feel. And in 2005, I completed my hospitality sales career on the hotel side. And then I went into the site selection professional side. In 2005, I joined Helms Briscoe. And and I want to talk about when I joined Helms Briscoe. I want to start to give you the mindset of a site selection professional. And this one is a little tricky for me because I have to toggle between what we experienced in February and March before this pandemic and the shelters in place happened and to where we are today. Okay. So think back, put on, dust your little noggin out there and think back to February, March timeframe. You are on the hotel side, and maybe some of you have pondered becoming a site selection professional and considered being maybe with Helms Briscoe or Conference Direct. Maybe you even heard of Avery Murphy before and you thought of becoming an Avery Murphy rock star. But you thought about, okay, I have to give a 2-week notice. And what I'm surprised to learn is that a lot of people do not fully appreciate what 100% commission is. So when I've talked to rock stars about joining the Avery Murphy team, I frequently get questions about who covers my expense report. That would be you. Do I have any medical insurance? Nope, that would be you. Do I get leads? Some organizations you get leads, some organizations you are the person who is, most organizations, I should say, you are the person, you're a business development person. That's what you do. And you have to figure out how to do accounting, you have to figure out how to set up systems, you have to do all that. So when you become a site selection professional, you go from getting a steady paycheck to 100% commission, where you are onboarding clients, taking care of your clients, finding the facility for your clients, helping your client navigate the contract. You work as a broker in between both. But most importantly is you do not get paid until that first meeting has happened. The pickup report has been completed and sent to the third-party professional so that they can send you an accurate invoice. And then it takes most hotels 30 to 45 days to process the invoice before there's actually a check or money's deposited into your bank account. So the sales cycle for a site selection professional is what they refer to in the sales profession as a long sales cycle. And that takes a major leap of faith. And I want you to really understand this mindset as you consider how you interact with your site selection professionals and third parties. So I have a question for you. Are you an action taker or are you an order taker? And I suspect that this answer is going to be different than when I hosted these webinars back in March. So go ahead, type in the chat and tell me, are you an action taker or an order taker? Can't wait to hear what everybody has to say. I think I know what you guys might say. I did the first webinar for this series yesterday, and things have indeed changed. So let me know, are you an action taker or are you an order taker? Yep, action takers. That's what I'm getting. And I'm not surprised because the people that are still in the hospitality industry, yep, we've got another action taker. Right on. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Michelle. The hospitality industry has had probably the most, well, not probably, it's the most enormous disruption that I have experienced in the 3 decades that I've been in this industry. And I wouldn't be shocked if those of you on this webinar haven't heard that what's happened during COVID-19 and this pandemic is larger than what happened in 9/11 and the financial crisis of 2008, 2009 combined. I've never before experienced so many hotels. As a matter of fact, I can't remember a time in my career when hotels actually suspended operations like they have now. So everybody who's on this call is an action taker because you guys really have the hospitality industry. It's in your heart and in your soul, and it's something that you are excited about. So just a tad bit more before we jump into the meat and potatoes of today's content. I spent over $100,000 investing in my personal and professional development and growth. And what I know to be true is that when I have grown personally, it has definitely had a positive impact on my business. The inverse is true as well. When I have grown professionally, it has also helped my personal life. And I just want to give a shout out here to a couple of the coaches. The groovy lady hanging with the peace sign up there, that's Ray Majors Wildman. She has been my business coach for 7 years. We've worked together for quite a while. Ursula Manchez, where I have my red hair, she's the sales coach who taught me about scripts. And that crazy wild man, Iman, he's the coach who helped me put together this webinar. And without him, you and I wouldn't be here today. And it's exciting. And as much as I love personal development and professional development, what really gets me out of bed in the morning and makes me leap and get excited is when I get to be the teacher. Being the student is wonderful. Being the teacher is equally as great for myself. And I would just like to give a little shout out here to Avery Murphy's, two of our top producers, Annette Eckel and Christina Hake. And then these are a couple of pictures where you see groups of us from our Avery Murphy client events, one that was hosted in Monterey and the other one that was hosted in Santa Barbara. And that's when actually Michelle Carlin and I know each other from both of these destinations when she was in her previous role and had on her hat as a destination sales professional. And what this has afforded me is my dream life, attending black tie affairs with someone that I adore, chartering a helicopter and seeing Sedona from in the sky, chartering a boat to celebrate my mother's birthday, taking 3-week long vacations. The one where I'm holding up the peace sign, that's when I went to China for 3 weeks. And that was a very wonderful vacation where I got to learn about a different culture in a way that I've never learned about another culture. And I couldn't have learned as much if I wasn't allowed the opportunity to take 3 weeks off. And I don't share my dream life with you to brag. I share my dream life with you because I want you to think about your dream life and what your dream life consists of. And I want to, in this short period of time that we have together, I want for you to get another baby step closer to living your dream life. And I share this with you because I know how to do it, and I want to give you those baby steps so that I can help you get there too. And how would your life be different if you had an understanding of the mindset of site selection professionals, understood how they select the hotels to send RFPs to, or the destinations that they select to send RFPs to, and what to say to them so that they will contact you, when you respond to you, when you send an email and you write, when you leave a voicemail and you write your emails. And what I want to share is that we're going to be talking about some really practical and applicable stuff here today. But it's not like I'm going to give you a magic pill and, like the Matrix, you can take the blue pill or the red pill and, it's that simple. Gobble, gobble, I took a pill, woohoo. It doesn't work like that. It's not like you can put in some minimal work and then get dream results. I want to give you as much of my time and energy as you're willing to take from me today. But what you're going to learn is that I can't give you everything in an hour. It's just not physically possible. And I want you to consider, especially as we've been going through COVID-19, has everybody here been to their hairdresser or their barber and gotten their hair done? We have a whole new appreciation for our hairdressers and our barbers. Maybe some of you, like some of my friends, have tried to touch up your roots on your own or cut your hair on your own, and you thought, oh, cutting my hair, how difficult could that be? I've got hilarious stories from friends and family of mishaps in cutting hair. Fortunately, it can grow back. Other things that I've seen on Facebook, really hilarious folks, people trying to dye their hair and ending up with hair colors that they didn't really suspect, or that's not what they were going for. The fact of the matter is, it takes a cosmetology professional 1,500 hours before they can actually learn to cut hair. Another profession to think about that you might think is pretty easy is taking photographs. We all are chat on our iPhones these days. Click, 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 click. It takes a professional photographer 2 years before they can be let loose and deemed a professional photographer. So as you think about getting your dream results from this training, please understand that I can't possibly give you everything that I want to share with you in this hour, but I'm going to give you as much as I can because I want you to be living your dream. I want you to be recognized in our industry as the professional that you are, up on stage, earning an award and earning recognition for all of the great things that you do to contribute positively to the hospitality industry. Okay, you guys ready to do this? Let's jump in. Let's take off. We are going to learn about the 3 communication mistakes that most of you make standing out to site selection professionals. The first one is that we are your partner. That's not true, folks. That is an incorrect statement. The next one is that relationship sales is effective. Again, simply not true. And the last one is we have been taught to avoid the competition. Again, this is a mistake. So, as I've shared with you, none of these are true. So let's jump in. But before we do, I want to remind you to stick around to the end to get the podcast for the 4 sales blocks. And I'm also going to throw in a link so that you can get a one-on-one with me to eliminate that sales block with all the NLP stuff that I've learned. I'm so excited to be able to have some one-on-one time with you. So stick around to the end to get those links. Okay. We're not your partner. Site selection professionals are not your partner. We are your client. I'm going to say that again. Site selection professionals and third parties are not your client, are not your partners. We are your clients. And if you take nothing else away from this webinar today, this one mindset shift will have you communicating better, more effectively, and getting better responses as soon as you recognize and use language where you talk to site selection professionals as your clients. So as I shared with you, I'm going to read from my script, and especially over these communication mistakes, I want to make sure that I don't miss any of the fine points. So think back to when you have done site inspections with your third parties or destination professionals, when you've had fam trips with your site selection professionals, and that's when everybody does a really great job. That's when site selection professionals like myself really feel like we're the client. You give us the wonderful VIP treatment with a welcome sign in the lobby and have the director of sales or the general manager greeting us. You upgrade our room with a view and a welcome amenity. Again, this is what everyone does. What most people do is when we send the RFP, that's when that switch seems to get flipped and you begin to treat us like your partner versus your client. When you get the RFP, this is when you really want to treat the site selection professional and third party as your client. So let me take a little step back in my career with regard to when I started in the hospitality industry. I was in the administrative side in the sales office. I was called a secretary back then because we weren't administrative assistants. We were actually secretaries. I was actually a receptionist slash catering secretary. And I can remember getting excited when I got a memory typewriter and I had programmed in continental breakfasts and I could hit the key and it would fill in that little part of the banquet event order. At that time, the sales managers and catering managers didn't type their own proposals. They didn't type their own contracts. There wasn't any way for them to really stand out. Folks, you have so many tools at your disposal now to stand out. The biggest thing that's going to make you stand out, though, is not all those tools, it's the mindset and treating site selection professionals and third parties as your client. Before we jump to the second point, I want you to take a moment to understand why you are here. Understanding why you're doing something really helps lock in the learning. So, why are you here? Are you here because you have some time off and you want to brush up your skills so that when you get that call to come back to your desk, you're ready to really jump in and be polished and ready to go? Are you back at your desk and you're in overwhelm and you want some tips and tricks so that you can get through the piles that you're doing and the things that you're doing that you haven't done before and get through it quicker? Or are you here because you're frustrated and you just don't know what direction to go and you're looking for a little bit direction? Share with me in the chat, why are you here today? And as you're typing that, I'm going to jump into the second communication mistake that hospitality sales professionals make. So I attended a sales and marketing networking group and learned from a marketing VP for a San Diego biotech organization that they are utilizing a new sales book for both their marketing and sales professionals. And this book is called The Challenger Sale. And I was really intrigued. So I went out and I got the book and I read it, and it made a lot of sense. In fact, we did it kind of as a book club study with the Avery Murphy Rockstars on our team. And what the book talked about is how sales has evolved as customer buying behaviors have changed and with the introduction of third-party consultants. And this is a great book for you guys to pick up yourselves. I'm not promoting the book. This is the only part that I'm going to touch on with the book. But especially as we're going through this process, you're going to want to understand about the Challenger sales model because our industry is going to shift and change before we return to what they refer to as the new normal. So what the book recognized is that organizations that participate in a solutions selling model, that the gap between star performers is 200% more than core performers. And the Challenger Sales has identified 5 types of sales professionals: the hard worker, the relationship builder, the lone wolf, the problem solver, and the challenger. Now, let's dive a little bit more into these 5 types of sales professionals. The first one is the hard worker. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. They're the person who arrives early. They're the person who stays late. They turn their expense reports in on time. They are making all of their entries into the CRM system. The people that they work with and for, they're just a dream to be around because they're following the systems and they kind of keep everybody in the system. The next person is the relationship builder. And in the hospitality industry, this one I think we all kind of tend to gravitate toward a little bit. And the relationship builder, really, their clients become their friends. They do much more than just check in to make sure they're okay and send a birthday card. They're sending invitations to their birthday parties and happy hours. They're receiving invitations to birthday parties and happy hours. And they're starting to socialize with their clients, and not everything is ending up on the expense report. Okay. I'm sure some of you guys can relate to the relationship builder. And then there's the lone wolf. And as I shared with you, I can kind of identify with the lone wolf. They're a little bit of a maverick. They don't turn in their expense reports on time. They gather them up and turn them in like, when they need to pay the credit card bill, and have it. They might be sitting on expense reports for a couple of months, 3, 4, sometimes even 6 months, until accounting and the director of sales just gets on them and says, golly gee whiz, don't do that to us again. They also aren't very good at making entries into the CRM system, but by golly gee whiz, those lone wolves, they are selling. And they do such a good job of making their numbers that as much as they're frustrating to the people that they work with and for, they kind of get away with it because they're making their numbers. The next sales type is the problem solver. And the problem solver, what they do is they come into the office and they're going to make 20 prospecting calls this morning. And in those 20 prospecting calls, before they get started, they check their email. Oh my goodness gracious, there's a problem with one of the clients. They run down to banquets, they start to fix it. They run then to the front desk to make sure that the VIP is going to be checked in okay. Then they, go with housekeeping to check the room and make sure everything's all right. And next thing you know, the day's over and they never did call those 20 clients. And what the problem solver does is they're not very good at delegating to their team members. They don't delegate to the banquet staff person that they should have. They don't delegate to the front desk person. They don't delegate to the housekeeping manager and do everything. Now, the challenger is the person that challenges people. They're the debaters on the team. And they don't debate in a way that's confrontational. They debate in a way that makes people think differently, that kind of goes, oh, I never thought about it like that. They're actually professional pivoters, folks. The challengers are professional pivoters. And given that this book is called The Challenger Sale, I'm sure it is not shocking to you or a surprise that the challenger is the one that outperforms the other 4 types of sales professionals. But what was shocking to me, I think I fell out of my chair a little bit when I read this, is the one that performs the least. So which one do you think it is? Type for me in the chat which one that you think is the least effective sales model. Is it the hard worker? Is it the relationship builder? Is it the lone wolf? Or is it the problem solver? Go ahead and join me in the chat and let me know which one of those that you think is the least effective. And while everybody's typing away, Tracy, I am definitely going to tell you ways to get third-party clients and generate more business. Thank you for sharing that you're interested in that. And Michelle, I hope we're covering some of what you're looking for as well. As a matter of fact, I think that we are. This challenger sales is one of those ways to go ahead and do that. Okay, we've got problem solver, hard worker. Okay, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Drum roll. It's the relationship builder. Again, you are probably as shocked as I was because everything we're taught in the hospitality industry is about, thanks, Edward. See, you guys are probably as surprised as I am. And what the relationship builder is, well, before I jump into that, let me first share that the book doesn't say, nor am I saying, that we do not build relationships with our clients. Obviously, building relationships and rapport with our clients is a critical factor. You cannot be a challenger if you do not have a healthy relationship with someone. Problem solving isn't a bad thing either. Hard worker isn't a bad thing either. Lone wolf isn't a bad thing either. Although I will say, I would suspect that the lone wolves probably are going to be the least likely to get the calls back, just because with everything that's going on, I suspect that if I were a manager as a business owner, I wouldn't want to deal with everything that I'm dealing with to get business back on track in the hospitality industry and have to manage somebody who beats to their own drum, no matter how good they are. So they really don't lend themselves to the challenger sales model. The other three, relationship builder, problem solver, hard worker, are more easily adapted into the challenger sales model. We all have qualities of each of these, but it's really like which one we lean into the most that makes us the most effective. And why the relationship builder is the least effective is there needs to be a little bit of tension to move the sale forward. Especially in this pandemic, folks, think about this. People are going to share with you, hey, I don't feel safe. I'm concerned about my attendees coming. I know that there's cleaning practices and everything, but, I don't want to be the person that had the conference where COVID happened and, a bunch of people got sick on my watch. What you need is a little bit of tension to help that meeting planner pivot so that they can understand, you can get COVID going if you live in an area like a condo complex or an apartment building and you have shared mailboxes and shared trash cans and there's lots of things that people are doing out there that they could get it that could happen outside of the travel. So what the challenger does is they help do that. Now, what I want to talk about more specifically with regard to the challenger sales model and help you take this with you going forward from today's webinar is that we have two clients. We have our external clients, which are your site selection professionals and third parties like myself, and you have your internal clients. Your internal clients are your folks that are your directors of sales, your directors of revenue management, your general managers. Those are your internal clients. And you don't just become a challenger sales professional with your clients external, you also do this with your internal clients. And what I want to share with you that's really important that we've noticed here in the third party industry is there have been 2 months through this pandemic that have been kind of months where we wait to see where things are happening. The first month we're in and we're almost through. So back when these shelters in place happened and the pandemic happened, a lot of people postponed their meetings. Some of them postponed them from the spring until June because that's when we thought the shelters in place were going to take off. All the CARES Act and stuff all kind of went for 2 months. We were going to hunker down for 2 months and then, the curve was going to get flat and everything was going to be okay. Well, that's not the case. So June was the first month. Now the month is September. Okay. September is the month that everything's looking again for meeting planners, third party site selection professionals. We're kind of waiting to see what happens in September. And the shelters in place do not make it illegal in most of the states right now to, as a matter of fact, I can't think of one state where it would be illegal to have a program in September. Because the shelters in place are currently going through various phases of coming out of the shelters in place. But there's another part of force majeure, and it's commercial impracticability. And if you are planning a conference, a larger conference, 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 400 people conference, and you're looking to hold that in September, you should have already been planning it. You should have started planning that back in June. You should have been making sure that your registration people are, that you're reaching out to the attendees and that people are getting registered. You're reaching out to the speakers and that the speakers are all set and everything's done. You are, getting the audio visual lined up. You're getting the centerpieces lined up. You're starting to look at banquet menus and everything. And even though everybody's got the cleaning procedures for how everything is safe and, we can do hybrid meetings and all that other stuff, there are so many parts of that puzzle that are so unknown. It makes it commercially impractical to hold a meeting in September right now. Now, some folks want to go ahead and do that in September, October, November, December. We have some meetings at Avery Murphy on the books, actually in August, and another one in November. So we have some meetings on the books happening. But what I want to arm you with as you go back to folks and you're dealing with clients and the force majeure is to understand that there are two components of that. One is if it's illegal, and the other one is if it's commercially impractical. And I want to arm you how to be a challenger, not just with your external clients, your third parties and site selection professionals, but also with your internal clients. Okay, little NLP, neuro-linguistic programming in adult learning. Repetition is another key point. So you're going to see that I do some repetitive things to really get you to lock things in. We're going to review here. Site selection professionals are your clients. And as I've shared, this is the number one thing that I want you to take away from today's webinar. If you take nothing else away, this is the one mindset shift that will have you communicating better and more effectively. And then we just talked about the challenger sales for internal clients as well as external clients, and then understanding why you are here. And Krista, I am thrilled to hear that you are considering joining a third party. I will discuss that with you when we conclude the webinar here a little bit. So let's move on. The third communication mistake is competition is a no-no. And what's true is collaboration will take you further and faster than the competition. This one gets me just like so excited, like so excited. Collaboration, AKA mastermind. And again, I am going to read from my script because I do not want to miss anything. So have you ever noticed how there is a McDonald's, Burger King, and Taco Bell all at the same intersection? Better yet, how airports and shopping malls have food courts? The owners of your hotel know about this as they acquire hotels near other hotels. All the hotels are in the city center or near the convention center or in a corporate park or, in fact, owners have begun to build hotel campuses. Some of them have competing brands such as Marriott and Hilton sharing a parking lot. I like to reference a hotel campus here in San Diego at Liberty Station that has a courtyard and a Hilton extended stay product. Same parking lot, same sales team, same owners. They understand that collaboration, AKA mastermind, is something that many successful businesses and or individuals do. There are many opportunities that working together with someone who could technically be considered your competitor that will catapult you both further and faster than either of you could have ever done on your own. So when I was on the hotel side, I would refer all of our wedding inquiries to a third party planner, a specific gentleman. And because we collaborated, he would give me first right of refusal on groups that were a better fit for my hotel. Anybody worked that, got those leads for the wedding market? They give those to the baby sales professionals, and that never makes any sense to me because those are the most difficult to manage, but I digress. Anyhow, I also did this when I worked with Helms Briscoe. And what I want you guys to understand here is Helms Briscoe, Conference Direct, Experian, Avery Murphy, we are all independent contractors. We all own our own business. We are all competitors of one another. Out there in the industry, I giggle every time I hear, oh, yeah, Helms Briscoe can't be friends with a Conference Direct person because they're competitors. Well, newsflash, Helms Briscoe people are competitors of each and everybody else. We keep our books of clients kind of to our chest, close to us, because we don't want someone else, dipping into an account that we've had. But as much as we're competitors, what I did when I was with Helms Briscoe is I teamed with other Helms Briscoe associates. And I did this because I had built a book of business that it took all of my time to manage. And I couldn't develop any more new business because I was managing all my business. And therefore, because I couldn't do that, I couldn't grow my income any longer. So I actually teamed with other Helms Briscoe associates, took a lesser commission in those teamings so that I could go out and get more business. I really worked smarter versus working harder. And I am going to give you an opportunity to be part of an exclusive mastermind here in just a moment. Before we go into that, I want to talk to you about third parties and COVID-19. The fact of the matter is, folks, that 2020 is really an experiment. Everything that we're doing right now is an experiment. And now more than ever, you do want to be part of an exclusive group where you can mastermind with folks to learn what's working and what's not working. And then the other thing is that we are really looking for what is safe and the cleaning standards and how to make sure that the cleaning standards are adhered to, because safety equals money. And that's what we're working with, is to educate our clients on how to do things safely so that meetings can move forward. And I also want to take a little bit of time to share with you that all site selection professionals are not the same. But working with a site selection professional like myself, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to learn about some others that fall into this category, you truly can work smarter versus working harder. Tracy, you really hit it on the nose when you said you want to get more third-party business, because you can work with someone like myself where I have my client portfolio ranges between 20 to 30 clients, on any given year. And those 20, 30 clients can place up to 400 meetings a year. And those 400 meetings a year equal about 20,000 room nights. So you can either work with folks like myself where you get access to 20 clients versus trying to find all of those 20 individual clients. And you really want to work smarter versus working harder by strategically working with site selection professionals. Okay, time for a little recap. Site selection professionals are your client. Number one takeaway from today's webinar: use your sales skills with both external clients as well as internal clients. Think about the challenger sales that I shared with you. Collaboration is the fast track. Masterminding is huge. and the new normal and being part of an exclusive community where you can share while we're in this experimental time of 2020 with group business. You want to figure out what the new normal is. You want to figure out who's out there forging the path that's working and who's out there forging the path that's not working. Those people are equally important, because if nobody's out there forging a path and clearing the way for us to go down, it's not helpful. So we've got to have courage right now, folks, to forge the path and figure out what's working as well as what's not working. And I really want to work with you to help you make the most out of your third party business. So, just one quick reminder about sticking around to the end. I'm going to give you links to the podcast of the 4 sales blocks and a one-on-one with myself. So, okay, we have covered a lot, and I thank you so much. You guys are so impressive. You have all stayed with me to the end. A bunch of action takers. You are to be applauded. There is still so much more that I can't possibly cover, as I shared with you. Anybody feel like this right now? If you feel like this, type in the chat, that's me. Like you're on information overload. This is what we haven't covered. How to make your proposal stand out. If there was ever a moment in our history when you need to know how to make your proposal stand out, this is it. What the day in the life of a site selection professional looks like. Understanding this right now, again, our mindset, I've touched on this a couple of times, but I can't take a deep dive in this short period of time that we have together. I haven't shown you what CVent looks like from our side. Again, diving deeper and understanding all of these nuances are so imperative for you at this moment in history. And we haven't shared with you how we prepare presentation reports to present to our clients. And you'll want to know that. Again, it goes back to making your proposal stand out. So I'm going to ask you again, are you an action taker or an order taker? And you, my friends, are all action takers. So I am thrilled to invite you to allow me to personally help you stand out to site selection professionals and invite you to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. As I shared with you, I know where you are and I know how you feel. And here's the invitation to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. It is 4 live coaching sessions done through Zoom. We're all familiar with that these days, on how to sell your property, leave voicemails that inspire responses, and writing emails that move the sale forward. I've been getting emails from folks that I'm happy that people are attempting it. The first sentence is, how are you doing? Are you healthy? Are you, getting through this shelter in place? And then the second sentence, second paragraph jumps into the way things have always been, which is a little bit of a misstep. And I want to help you guys avoid that. And you're going to begin to apply what you've learned week 1. We are going to be recording these sessions. So if you can't attend them, if for some reason your schedule doesn't allow you to attend these, they're going to be Wednesdays at 2 beginning in August. If your schedule doesn't allow Pacific Standard Time, if your schedule doesn't allow you to attend them, that's okay, because there's going to be the recording. And as I've shared with you a couple of times, repetition is key for adult learning. So even if you can't attend them, I highly recommend that you watch the recording as well. The third component is lifetime access to a Facebook group. Remember, I talked about masterminding, and I was going to give you an invitation to an exclusive group. You guys, my friends, are the exclusive group. The Facebook group is where the mastermind occurs. This is a qualified community that I was speaking about. And this is also where you can interact with me in between sessions and ask questions with regard to, there's so many questions that are coming up these days because we are dealing with things that we have never dealt with in the past. And then lastly, once 100 students have gone through the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, I'm going to be holding a live event, because that's what we do in the hospitality industry. We hold live events, and in the live event, there's going to be a panel of site selection professionals and role-playing exercises. So here's the recap: 4 live coaching sessions, recordings of each of those sessions, lifetime access to a Facebook group, VIP tickets to a live event, and the total value of all of this is $1,497. I'm also here. Remember, I told you that all site selection professionals weren't created the same. It's not a one size fits all, and how to get a hold of folks like me. I'm giving it to you. I have videotaped 10 interviews with top producing site selection professionals, and their qualified books of business are worth 247 clients, 855 meetings per year, and those meetings are worth over 105,000 total room nights. I'm also going to include an interview with a hospitality tech expert who can share what the future is for sales technology. And goodness gracious, folks, haven't we learned so much about technology through this, about virtual meetings, hybrid meetings? And as much as those are great and effective, and I'm thrilled that those are getting used, Zoom is huge and effective. We are still going to have in-person meetings, and we need to know when to use technology and when it's not applicable any longer. Who the Hospitality Sales Masterclass is not for. If you're an order taker, this isn't for you, but you guys are all action takers, so we don't need to worry about it. I don't think any of you are worried about looking bad because you are all participating with me here. And you must be into the hospitality industry because you showed up. So this is who the program is for. Each and every one of you, for action takers, people who are growth oriented, people who are passionate about hospitality, and you want to have access to a growing list of site selection professionals. I want this to be you standing on the stage, achieving your dream results. I want this to be you, folks. So today, I am going to make you an offer that you cannot possibly say no to. Today's price is a $97 seat reservation. And what that means is you give me $97 today, you attend all 4 sessions, or you watch the recordings, and I can tell if you've watched the recordings. And then you complete the assignments. And at the end of the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, I will give you the $97 back. I have found when you don't put skin in the game, you don't show up for yourself. So the $97 is just for you to put some skin in the game and so that you show up, because showing up is half of the battle, folks, and then the rest is good. So you can get started now. As a matter of fact, I am going to put the offer up there. Okay, and all you have to do is click the button where it says Get Instant Access. And before we wrap up, I want to take you through a visualization. So if you could take a few moments with me and close your eyes, take a deep cleansing breath, and imagine that upon leaving this world, you are brought to a divine storehouse whose halls are lined with endless doors decorated with nameplates. And you come across one that has your name blazoned across it as if you were a rock star. And although the host encourages you not to look inside, you insist. So the door is unlocked and you are greeted by ceiling-high shelves of unopened, dust-covered, dated boxes. Excited, you rush over to one of them and you open it up, and it's from last week. And it's that blessing that you never claimed. From the previous year, you look under one and it's a huge break at work, but you never asked for it. You open up another box and it's a blessing from your youth of the ideal person just waiting to share the gifts that they have to deliver to your life, but you never asked them out. And from childhood is the dream that you never dared to dream because it seemed too big and held too much potential for disappointment. Here they sit, unopened, box after box from your lifetime, filled with blessings that you never asked for fear they were too good to be true for you. All of this abundance belongs to you, but it was never delivered because you failed to ask. Do not let this be one of those times. Okay, open your eyes. And I want to see, does everybody see the instant access button? Have you taken an opportunity to? Huh, yeah, that is Joe Mercy, Tracy. Okay, folks. Oh, I'm so excited. We have our first hospitality sales masterclass person from this call. Congratulations. Thank you. I am so excited to be with you. Beginning in August is when the sessions will begin. Woohoo! Oh, the link might not be working. I thought, Krista, thank you so much for letting me know. I will reach out to you. Thought we had somebody. Okay, Krista, I will reach out to you. If anybody else is having troubles, let me know. All right. As I shared with you, the 4 live coaching sessions start August 5th at 2 p.m. You're going to get recordings of each of the sessions, lifetime access to the Facebook group, VIP tickets to the live event. Total value is $1,497, but you just have to do the seat reservation of $97. You can go ahead and click that link and join me. And you guys made it. Congratulations. You are a group of rock stars, and I am thrilled that you were with me here today. Here are the links to the Sales Block podcast as well as the one-on-one with me. And if anybody has any questions, I'm going to stick around for a few moments to answer them in the chat. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Be groovy.